This is not your NBC. This is CAN TV. Studio 21's CAN TV, Channel 21. And we're live. And folks, you better get your pencil and paper out today. And brothers of Q Sci-Fi, you better start getting on the phone and tell folks that your Q brother is here. And I'm going to introduce him in a minute, but it's enough to know. Divine Nine people, you're out there. My Alpha brothers, you're there. Got a good Q brother that's going to blow your mind and turn about this book we're going to talk about in a little bit. I'm going to introduce Dr. Kenneth Jackson in a few minutes, but I got to do my normal shout-outs. Shout-out to our distinguished executive director of CAN TV, and that is Mr. Darius Hillman, who makes this possible, that gives organizations, nonprofit organizations, an opportunity to bring to the community information that is viable and that makes the community viable. I shout out to him and thank him for having organizations like the Black Star Project, which is our sponsor, and founded by the late founder, Philip Jackson. And Philip Jackson passed the mantle on to Gloria Smith, the executive director of the Black Star Project, our sponsor. We are so happy to have you turning in today. And I've got to, because we can't let the time go by. You know what sometimes we miss? If we let time go, we've got to give a shout out to our studio producer, Imani Payne. Imani, raise your hand so people can see you. Okay, very good. Shout outs also to the staff, my associate producer, and that would be Dr. Mike Washington, who you've seen here many times, and also Ellis Taylor. Shout out to them and thank them for doing their part in making this happen. An exciting guest I have. Met him at a book signing, came well represented and talked about Dr. Kenneth T. And the T stands for Tyrone? Tyrone Jackson, who has so many things to talk about, but we're going to talk about a little bit later. It's some more. This book, the title is, go read it. It's your book.
From the Outhouse.
From the where?
The Outhouse.
Oh, you got to be kidding.
No.
To where?
To the White House.
To the what?
To the White House in Washington, D.C.
In D.C.?
A Fatherless Journey.
Oh, man, you're talking about a fatherless journey. You got some things to tell us.
Yes.
First of all, tell us, Dr. Jackson, how'd you happen? No, please. Give us a quick background about your educational background, where your PhD, where you got your bachelor's from. You got a Michigan, and you got some Southern influence, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think everything in education starts in early childhood. And see, we can talk about the high school, the junior high, but early childhood had me at Westside Elementary School, an all-black school in Talladega, Alabama.
Talladega,
Alabama.
How many folks in Talladega? It's a bunch of folks. Can you see? They raised their hand when you said Talladega.
Shout out to Talladega.
What's the college there? Talladega?
Talladega College,
okay.
HBCU school.
HBCU.
Yes. That was my hometown. Born there. Born there, and by a midwife. My mom, all of us was born in her bedroom. So I got my early childhood at Westside Elementary, and those teachers loved me, and they loved all of us. And with good love, early childhood, it gives children a jump start in life. And that's where I got my jump start.
And that's also maybe a lead into one of the things that astounded me, that you did not meet your biological father until you were in your 50s?
I was 58, and
okay.
that was interesting because, I was working in the Marines at that time in Washington, D.C., and in order to get around dignitaries, I had to get a White House security clearance.
Okay.
So they actually let me know during my clearance where my father lived, and I
Was
already
he still
knew.
alive at the time?
Yeah, he was
Okay.
still alive.
Living down in Talladega or someplace else?
Yes, Talladega.
Okay.
And but I wasn't interested in meeting him. I was like just graduated
Yes.
from the Marine Corps boot camp and
Okay.
sent to Washington D.C. as a presidential guard for Richard Nixon.
Well, we're going to talk
at the
about
time.
that Marine and the values that gave to you too. But
Yes.
go ahead.
So at the age of 58, I was superintendent of schools in Flint, Michigan, and
Were you considered a prodigy? I know you still are. You're still a prodigy. You were a prodigy at the time, right?
I guess you could say that.
That's why Q-Side Fly grabbed you so quickly, right?
Yeah. Well, that's me right there.
That's right.
That's who I am.
Okay, now we got to get into
Yeah.
what prompted you to write this masterpiece of a book.
Well, you know what? It was therapeutic for me to write. I had to write that book because throughout all my successes, I had dark spots
Okay.
in my life that hadn't been addressed.
Okay.
It was pretty tough living in Jim Crow South. My mom raised 9 kids by 7 different men, and not one of those brothers supported, including my father, not one stepped up to be a dad and support any of us. So there she was, my mom, raising 9 children by herself, no running water, no electricity, and we had to use the outhouse. So that was a part in my book that I wanted to make clear. And let me just say that Ardeen Jackson, my mom was one strong woman who prepared all of us for this world out here. She received a 3rd grade education, but she made sure all of her children was educated. And
That's one significant part. Even though that you missed having a father in your life or a certain part of your life, the strong black woman,
yes,
like your mother exemplified, knew how to and had a vision for you very early on of what you could be. And I'm sure that at some point she had to exhort you or encourage you to go on to University of Michigan.
No, it was Western Michigan
Western
University.
Michigan, okay.
But that was after I got out of the Marine Corps.
Okay.
But I had a long dreamt of going to college. No one in my family at that time.
What made you dream about that? What caught you into? Was it your teachers, a coach, or what?
No, as a kid in Talladega, West Side Elementary was right across the street from Talladega College.
Oh,
so
you
as a
had some
kid,
influence, yeah.
I used to see the students carrying their books, dressed really nice, and having intellectual conversations on campus. So as a kid, you dream. So I always dreamt of doing the same thing and emulating what I was seeing.
You had an early vision.
Yeah, I had a vision.
Okay.
And so, but my vision was because of my poverty and lack of money, and I had to make some different roads to get there because my mother didn't have money to send me to college.
Did you know you were poor?
Did I know?
That you were poor?
No, not until
Right,
not,
right,
hey,
yeah.
not
I
until I
yeah.
moved to Battle Creek, Michigan. I did not know I was poor.
And that's
or poor.
because your mama.
No, and
the
not
family in the village. Go
and
ahead.
everybody else had the same thing. No running water.
Okay.
Using outhouses. So I had nothing to gauge it with.
Nothing to compare.
But when we moved north, I realized I was poor because social services made sure no man could come in the house.
Right.
And they coming in our house different times at night, searching under the bed. And
At different times of night they did that.
oh, yeah. And then giving us food stamps and Christmas baskets. And I said, wait a minute, are we poor? And that made me feel poor once I moved to Battle Creek, Michigan, and being with under social services. So that kind of inspired me to also be out of that system when I grow up.
Was there a teacher, a mentor, coach also that you had it from the inside, but you also had from your mom? Was there somebody else in the village that got you to go to college?
Well, that book will explain it, but really, I only had my self-motivation. I've always been self-motivated.
Okay.
I really didn't need anyone to push me, but I was always self-motivated, and I wanted things that other folks said it ain't possible. You know, you don't supposed to go to college. You know, the education system was designed to have me low-level classes, designed to take blue-collar jobs, work in a factory, join the military services. You know, and I think I should have had more options than that. And that is also explained in my book. So I said to myself, you know, I'm going to defy the odds.
Okay.
They say, you know, I can't go to college, and they say I'm not supposed to wear a tie to work. And I wanted to prove to them that indeed I can. So, you know, I was really self-motivated. And so when I got out of high school, you know, my brother influenced me to go in the Marine Corps.
And how did that impact your life? I know the Marine is an impactful experience.
Yeah, but it was really funny because my brother, you know, he suggested I go in the Marine Corps, and that'll pay for my GI Bill to go to college.
Okay.
So when I went in the Marine Corps, it was relatively easy for me, and some of the recruits that was with me, that was stationed with me, they would always say, you know, KT, you know, why is it so easy for you here? And what I would tell them is that, fellas, let me tell you something.
Tell me.
I said, number one, I said, you see that bunk bed? I never had a bed to myself growing up.
Listen,
I was always sleeping.
I slept with my brother until I was going to high school.
That's right.
He was in a Murphy bed, a let-down bed that we had let it down and put it up. But I got so tired of my brother crunching his teeth or grab his mouth.
Right.
I'm so glad when I got to doing the let-out couch. So I know about sleeping with your brothers.
That's number one. Number two, I had never had 3 square meals a day in my life.
Oh, boy.
You know, because down south, there was no, I go in the kitchen and turn the stove on.
Yeah.
You know, you got to heat that metal stove up with coal and kindling in order for it to get hot enough to cook.
Was that one of the things you did, or Mom did it all?
Oh, no, Mom cooked.
Okay.
We had to prepare the fire and get the water and all that.
So Marine Corps was almost a piece of cake, almost.
And not only that, I didn't meet not one drill instructor that was tougher than Mud is. And Mud is my mother.
I know what those eyes are like. Yes, all right.
So, you know, Mother got us prepared for life. She did. You know, and again, you read my book, you would think, she was pretty cruel. But you know what? She had to wear men's attire and females' attire because she had to get her boys as well as her girls ready for this world.
For life.
You know.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah, you got to college, you finished up, you got into education, and then you spent many years. Tell us about some of the most dramatic things you learned as an educator that went from a teacher, instructor, to superintendents.
Yeah.
Just superintendents of whole cities, right?
Yes.
Give us a quick background about that.
well, you know, when I got
Because we're going to get into how you happened to write this book.
Well, when I got into college, you know, after I got out of the Marines, you know, so I majored in business administration and accounting. And so I graduated with my business degree, and I still had time on my GI Bill. So my advisor in college said, you know, why don't you, you know, take some classes to be a teacher? Well, I had no desire to be a teacher.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to work in the business world.
Okay.
And so I got into the education area, and he said, well, you know, you got to finish this by student teaching for a semester. So that meant you got to, you got to be in front of kids.
Okay.
So my first time getting in front of a classroom with kids, the lights went on. I mean, my goodness, those kids were sitting there, burning for knowledge, and that was it. I couldn't resist. I knew then that I was going to be a teacher for the rest of my life.
I want to stop you just then because I want to reintroduce our guest, Dr. Kenneth T. How do I do that?
Jackson.
Kenneth T. Jackson is our guest today, talking about his experiences both as an educator, as a member of Q Sci-Fi, and how he got into writing this book. And give us the title again.
From the Outhouse to the White House, A Fatherless Journey.
And we're going to get into that too. But give us how you got in, how you the education part, and what experience as being an administrator in the field of education in Michigan that you bring to the table in both in writing the book and what you experienced and gave to the communities that you live in.
Well, when I was in school in Battle Creek, they kind of pools you. So coming from the South, they just assumed that I was a slow learner. So they kept me in mediocre classes. I never had any college prep. They never tested me to see what I was capable
They
of
didn't
getting.
think much of it.
No.
Not until,
no.
okay.
So I stayed in low-level classes. So when I get to high school, and my English teacher was a young first-year English teacher, and I had enough credits to graduate, so I wanted to work in the office that extra hour, but I also had an English class. So my counselor told me that, based on you not able to take or hadn't taken college prep classes, I couldn't work in the office. So I go back to my English class pretty upset, and I tell the teacher, I don't want to be in this class, because she wanted us to read this book by James Baldwin, Go Tell It on the Mountain.
Go Tell It on the Mountain. Oh,
Go
man.
Tell It on the Mountain.
Yeah.
So I had never read a complete book
Okay.
till I was challenged, because I told the teacher, you want me to spend a whole semester in this class reading a book that I can read in one
You
night?
challenged the teacher?
Yes.
This is in your nature.
Yeah. And she said, I tell you what, Ken Jackson, if you can read this book in one night, and everybody knew it hadn't been on TV, so they knew I had to read the book. She said, if you answer 7 out of the 10 questions, I'll make sure you get that job in the office.
And no cliff notes of you
That's
every
right.
time back? Okay.
So the next day, after I went home and did the unthinkable, I read the entire book with very little sleep.
Don't tell us it was a candlelight now, right?
Yeah, no, because at that time we had electricity because we was in Battle Creek.
Okay.
Down south it was none of that.
Yeah.
So what happened was she gave me an exam and I passed it with eight. I answered 8 out of the 10 questions, and she literally went to the office and got me that job in the office.
Demanded that you have
And
that.
what I want to say about her was the fact that she also, when I got my PhD, I hadn't a clue that she was keeping up with my career. She wrote me this beautiful note stating that she always knew that I can do great things.
And you got to have somebody that has the vision about, sees you and has a vision. And it's like you, me, we try to be mentors.
Yes.
And this is so important that somebody saw that in you. But we're going to jump into the book itself, because there's something about the subject matter.
Yes.
The fatherless journey.
Yes.
There's a mission that you had. You shared with me, share with our audience this mission of the journey, of the fatherless journey.
Yeah. So many black boys in this country with fatherless homes.
Okay.
And what happens to these boys, they make poor decisions.
Okay.
And these decisions can lead to imprisonment. These decisions also can lead to dropping out of school or joining a gang and so forth. And that lessens the chance of this young man being successful. So I was fortunate enough that I made some pretty bad decisions, but God was with me. And let me say this again. God was with me when I wasn't even with myself. So he guided me when I knew I had no clue. He was with me. So I was fortunate enough to not get myself caught up, because when I received a White House security clearance, that meant I had a good record, and they sent me to D.C.
Tell me about that experience. That experience of being in the honor guard. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Tell us about that experience and what you experienced. That was during the Nixon
administration.
Okay.
Yes. When I got to D.C., I didn't have a White House security clearance at that time, so the FBI came to my mother's hometown in Battle Creek and was all over the place, checking my background. So my mom called me and she said, "What's going on? The FBI is all over the city. People calling me saying,
what's going on?
What have your son did?" So I tell my mom that I'm here doing a White House security clearance before I can get around any dignitaries. So my clearance came through, and they asked me, had I ever met my father, because they found him as well. And had I ever met my father? Did I know his name? Yes, I did. And I know.
Did you meet him?
I met him at the age of 58
and
when I was superintendent of school. That was quite hilarious because I knew where he was when I was there as a Marine. But I got out of the Marines, and now I'm superintendent of schools in Flint, and we formed a superintendent consortium flying to HBC schools in the summer to recruit black teachers. Well, they flew me to Alabama State, which was in Montgomery, Alabama, which was nowhere from Talladega. So I rented a car that Saturday morning, drove and found out where he was at and knocked on his door. And now keep in mind, I was 58 years old. We had never met.
Did he look like you?
Oh, listen here. It's the funny thing about it, when he answered the door, well, his wife answered the door first. And I told her to tell that old man to come out and meet his firstborn son. Well, when he comes to the door, he's looking at a younger version
of
himself, but he could see that I didn't have a handout needing anything because I was clean as 5 pots of chitlins.
Like you.
so he know I didn't need anything.
Some chitlins, so I know what that's
like. I was clean. So I told him that 2 things can happen. You can shut that door in my face and this meeting never happened, or you can choose to be a part of my life. And he said, I want to be a part of your life.
You gave him that opportunity.
I gave him that opportunity.
Jump into, keep on now, tell us about the fatherless person and what you want. What's your mission now?
My mission is to wake up. My mission is to wake up black men to let them know that these boys out here, they are crying out. An old African proverb says, if the village fail to embrace the children, they will burn it down to feel its warmth. These children out here are crying out for help, and they're going to get your attention one way or another. And we don't want the other because we know they're putting themselves in a hole that they can't get out of. So we need, as men, we need to get together and find ways of rescuing and wrapping our arms around these boys and taking back the village.
You shared something with me, and it's from your book. You said, a man is never successful until he loves and wants for his brother as much as he wants for himself. And I think this is something that Malcolm X has said.
Absolutely.
Fathers as black boys, I think you said. Talk about that and how that inspired you, that quotation, and how we, especially HBCU as Divine Nine members, need to be concerned with mentoring and doing the kind of things that you're doing. We've got a little time to talk about that.
Well,
please.
you know, all my life, long before I was a Q, and even as a poor young boy in the neighborhood, I was always interested in uplifting my brothers. So I was always giving them myself and helping other black brothers, young men my age. And then as I grew, that continued. So I lived my life every morning, every day, lifting another brother up. Because Malcolm said it best, no man is a man till he love and want for his brother as much as he want for himself. And we have to get that into our system because we have no one but us. See, we stand in our own way. Too many brothers are worried about their own and not about the mass, you know. And we got to get back to our African roots, you know. We got to get back talking to the elders, you know. We spending too much time letting these kids make decisions on their own. So we need to get these kids back at home, turn off some of these devices, and have genuine conversation with our children.
You got to engage.
We got to engage.
And we say it a different way. We say, first of all, servants of all, we shall transcend all. But that's all the Divine Nines have that kind of spirit.
Absolutely.
And mission that we must do. We've got a few minutes.
Yes.
What do you want to leave our audience with? Can you tell us how folks can get copies of this book? Do you have a phone number or email address?
Well, you can go to Amazon, you can go Barnes & Noble, or you can go on the web site.
Wait a minute, you with the big folks, Amazon, Barnes & Noble?
Yes.
This little beautiful book?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, tell us.
Well, it's sold out twice in Amazon so far, and it's moving fast because it put it like this, you'll be amazed at each and every chapter because it's gripping, and it's a great piece of work for young men and young boys who were placed in the same position that I was placed in. So again, I think it's a great read for mothers.
I almost read it overnight too because I like the way you had the chapters. The chapters are short. It flows. It's almost, you can't put it down.
Well, I tell you, the book was so therapeutic for me to write because if you look at my bio and you see all my successes in life, as a basketball coach, winning state championships. In the Marines, I'm working at the White House. As an educator, I'm the superintendent of schools. So I've had great success in everything I pursued. But
Everything
inside,
you touch turned to purple and gold?
yes, sir, and more. Black and gold
Black
as well.
and gold, too. Okay.
But what I hadn't came to grips with was that dark page in my life, the hunger days, the days that I put my life on the line for my mom and my family, the days I put my life on the line for my daughter and my wife when I was in the Marine Corps. A lot of times
That's some stories you're going to have to come back and tell us.
And that a lot of times in my life, I put me last. I put other folks in my family and friends of mine first. And God was with me to get me through some of those rough times. So I'm here to say, love your brother, believe in your brother, and uplift each and every brother that you see.
And all you brothers listening, viva voce, pass it on. Let your brothers, let your Q brothers know, let your Divine Nine brothers and brethren know about this book. Again, repeat.
From the Outhouse to the White House, a Fatherless Journey. Must have.
Must have. And pass on. My brother, thank you. This is traditional here on this program. Thank you for being with us. Our CAN TV folks are going to love receiving this and passing it on viva voce. It's going to be on YouTube too, so thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right.